You know, whether you're an employer or an employee, all of us have several things in common. We all have our dreams, and when we think about it and tell other people about it, they have a chance of coming true. So tonight we're working through entrepreneurship and how personal feelings and personal goals and all come into play when we're hiring employees, when we're trying to be a better employee ourselves, or if we're just trying to figure out how to make some dreams come true and we hadn't thought about it a lot. I'm Steve Carver, speaking to you from my office in Dunn, North Carolina, and I hope you're going to enjoy the next couple hours. We've got a lot plugged into it and look forward to working with you. My presentation number 1092, and thank you for joining me on my journey of entrepreneurship and let me ride along with you as well. I'd like to invite you to find me on Facebook. Let me know you're there. Welcome to like me, because that's where I'll follow you and your activities. And I'm encouraging entrepreneurs to do that. So just type in Anthony Steven Carver or Steve Carver and scroll down till you see the fall leaves and pond in my profile picture. And that way you'll know it's me, and come on in and join us. We'll exchange some notes. I'm not a lawyer or an accountant, just here offering you some free advice. And the best advice I could always give you is to suggest that you get a second or third opinion when you're making a serious decision that may affect your security, finances, business, or family. And one of the very best places to get business advice and counsel and feedback is from your community college small business center. I know you've all heard this before, but it is really the truth. And if you're not taking advantage of your services that they offer, then you're missing out. Tonight we're sponsored by Joy Wynn, who is indeed the director at the Small Business Center at James Front Community College. Joy is a real hard worker. She'll look forward to helping you. So I hope you'll give her a call and get to meet her and let her help you. Tonight we're talking about finding and hiring employees and being a dream manager. And then after tonight, we're going to take a week or so off and come back together on November 29th after Thanksgiving, and then proceed on for another week or two into wrapping up 2 courses programs with very good and interesting topics. So I hope you all will be able to attend. Several study guides have been sent to you. They're really important, give you a lot of information about tonight's subjects, and I hope you'll take advantage of it. One down at the bottom there, one that we just sent to you, is a sample of a company policy. As you start your company and grow it and add employees, I really like to recommend that you put all the things that you say or you promise or you plan to do or that are concerning you that's appropriate. Write them down and put them in a company policy. It'll be so much easier to navigate through really tough issues if you got a foundation policy to kind of help you along. Vacation days, sick days, do's and don'ts, drug policy, things like that are really important. So I had one before, pretty lengthy and very involved, but one of our fellow associates asked me last week to share that with him, and he shared the one that he had put together for his new company. I really liked it better than what I've got. He didn't have to cover a lot of things that I did, so I basically took it and made another sample out of it. So y'all are welcome to check that out and use it as it will help you. When you get your, tomorrow or tonight, when you get a email from the Small Business Network with a survey, please take the time to answer it. It really helps us out a lot. And appreciate your attendance so far. I'm keeping up with attendance because you'll need to attend at least 4 of the 5-part program and pass the quiz to qualify for your certificate of achievement for this course. So thank you all for coming last week, and tonight we'll look forward to working forward, and I'll keep up with that as well. Since most of the folks attending this program are also active in our other course that we're doing, let's just do a fast rundown on what everybody's up to, okay? Sarita's with us tonight. Thank you so much for your continued effort and support. She's given us a good video as we've gone along, and thank you for that. First in class winner for the spring session was Vanessa McIntosh with her 5-alarm logistics, and she offered so much good information for all of us, which we shared all the way through. Just did all her homework, did more than her needed to just really rock and roll, and her business is paying off for her. She said it's just keeps multiplying, and she'll probably have to add an employee this fall. But Vanessa did one thing right after another to keep it going, including a great video. So really look. Good example of her video we were playing, and our first in-class award winner for the fall session was Latoya, who's with us tonight, and thank you for all that you've done and all that you continue to do, Latoya. You've sent in some great information, images. All your statements are looking better and better, so I know that this is going to pay dividends for you. Annette, hey there, good to have you with us tonight. We're going to keep bragging on you as you get your blessed bookkeepers up and running, so good luck with that. Shawana and Mitchell in Roanoke Rapids is starting to kick in with her all of her homework and plans she's doing, and we certainly appreciate that. Katina, thank you for all that you have done and the information you sent to us today, and the great photograph. That's so cool. And sharing with us your new business, DIN Creations. I love your slogan there, created from the heart. That's just, that builds confidence and trust. Love your business cards, very well done, congratulations. Appreciate the fact that you've done your mission, vision, and promise statements. Very short and very powerful, more likely to be read when you keep it that way. I like on your promises down here, promise to listen to your customers, make them feel welcome, and always bring quality work and great service. You won't go wrong by staying with those with that promise to your customers. Thank you so much for being the first one in the new group to bring me your 5 marketable profit centers. Very well done. I'm going to be interested to see how you put those together in your business plan and assign monetary values to that. It'll be a challenge, but I want you to go ahead and try to be doing that with your estimated income and projections. But that's what business planning is all about. But all those look very doable, and we wish you the very best, and we'll be praying for you to make it work really well. Thank you for getting started on your business plan, getting your domain name in place. It must not be running because I tried to click on it and I couldn't get it to come up. So that's okay. We'll keep checking it out. Coming up with an income goal. I kept that private for you. You've determined it's going to be a full-time job for you. So go for it. Let's see how it works out. Good looking products, and I appreciate the photos of your products and other certificates about what you're qualified to be doing. And Regina, thank you as well for being getting real busy this week and sending lots of information down in Elizabethtown. Thank you for being with us tonight and the great photos that you sent. I picked out a couple and stuck them up here. I hope you'll approve. And really good photos, a lot of good color in them, personal type stuff. Thank you for working on your business plan and sharing that. That's good progress. And for your sketches of your fashions, I don't know how to look at them and read them quite yet, but I'm sure that other people that are into fashion design do. So thank you very much. Darcy is doing a great job and continues to work hard on her business. We're very proud of her getting into the florist business. coming forward with a lot of good information, including testimonials. Over the holiday, if y'all would consider doing a testimonial for the Small Business Center and the Academy and our work, we'd appreciate those as well, and it'd be a good opportunity for you to learn how to do that. Timothy in Williamson has been joining us on a regular basis. He came in late last night to see the presentation that I put up for him, but he seems to be a great fellow with a good following. He's very much into his work at Legal Field Company, and they share their mobile phone, mobile page, which is very emphatic, asking people to call them. And Tim's has done an extra good job getting linked up on the first page when you do a Google search. He's got it nailed down really good about his work with Legal Shield and other things he does. So congratulations, Tim. So fast rundown there. Don't forget your 40 drill skills to keep studying those, and I certainly appreciate LaToya's work on that. Looks like you're about got those mastered, and that'll help everybody if you do that, no doubt. Tonight's main subject are about employee retention and employee retention by being a dream manager. That's what we're going to talk about. It's really hard to find and hire and keep the great employees. These days, it seems like with all the signs up, it's hard for employers to find anyone, but our job is not just to find anyone, it's to find the person that'll make the most difference for you, or if you're still in full-time work, so that you'll make the most difference for your employer and therefore move to the top as well. The first question that we generally ask when we're interviewing an employee or talking about joining with someone or asking them to become a part of our business is, what are the values that are most important to you when you hire a new employee? Not only do you have to weigh out what your values are so that you can connect with the values of the person that you're talking to. So let's just say that on a scale, when we're doing personal evaluations, that if we give a number 1, that's not so good. A number 2 would be the very best. So 5 and 6 would be kind of in the middle. So in those personal evaluations. So as we look at ourselves and give our self-evaluations on these different attributes, what would the numbers be? And this is a self-test. This is what we do on our own. As good as it gets would be 120. And I've done this many times through the years, and I disappoint myself from time to time. But that honesty will help you motivate yourself to improve in where you think that you are slack. But the key is, and I'll ask you to do it, trustworthy, steadfastness, stamina, communications, persuasiveness, sales and negotiation, competitiveness and leadership, motivational, inspirational, and business skills and management skills. These are all a very important part as to being the very best person we can be, as well as being the very best entrepreneur that we can be. So I'll challenge you to get your hand out, print out that page and test yourself, and then do it as often as you think will help you, and see what changes that you might want to make. You know, hiring your first employee is quite a challenge for a lot of folks. Through the years, I was lucky enough to be born into a business that already had 17 employees when I got out of high school and joined it. So I was able to watch a lot of folks come and go through my 63 years, and adding a lot of companies and other enterprises. I've had the chance to work with over 2,000 people that I would call employees. It's a real experience. It's a great learning curve, and certainly everyone is not set up or ready to do that. So tonight, I want to talk about things that will help you take that challenge and move forward with it. So when you're ready to expand and delegate and build your team, you could do it. So let's first of all talk about the setting. Setting standards is a key to finding the people that you are going to be comfortable with and that will most help your company. The cornerstone of any foundation when we're looking for new help is those standards of how well are they going to help you with your service, not only what you're providing, that is the business service that you do, but the customer service, how you handle your customers, and where does it stack up on the hospitality scale? How do you feel about being connected with or having this person connected with you? I like to suggest that we all take on a #1 management style. This is a term that's being used in the industry worldwide, and a lot of teachers and educators and people who propose to be experts. So I'd heard this for a number of years back. I wanted to include it here because I kind of like where it's headed from. So it's a management style #1. That's a +1. I want to carry to the next level a +1 management style in the way that we are doing it. So what does that do? A +1 management style will encourage us to set standards of service, to set standards of hospitality, to establish where your boundaries are. That is, when we have someone that's working for us, we don't want to have to do all the thinking for them. We don't have to tell them where to stand and where to go and what to do, but we do need to let them know where the boundaries are, and they got freedom to range in between those. I'll refer to those boundaries as the riverbank. That's we want to hire an employee, we want to train them, but then we want to turn them loose so that their best attributes will shine for them and for our company. So when we turn them loose, we don't want to just let them go all over the world. We want them to stay within the riverbanks of where we want our company to go. And then we always want to think about this person. How can we, or how do they want to become, or where do they want to go, or what would be best with this particular person to get them up to the next level? Having an employee is all about making sure that they feel like that you are interested in them and you're trying to help them to get to the next level. With some employees, that might be a major jump in income, and some employees, it might be just how I can learn to read better so I can do my job better. It might be some assistance in buying a special tool that they need. Everything in the world you can think of can almost come into this topic. As an employer and trying to help our employees feel more connected to our company, we need to be thinking about how to help them get to the next level that they want to get to, as well as where we want them to go. I like to say that keeping gentle and continuing pressure on the folks that are working for us and with us is a must. In other words, that we want them to know that we're there and we're aware of what's going on, but we don't want to be looking over their shoulder or pressing on their back. That gives them the feeling that we are so demanding and such a major boss power issue that they don't have any freedom. So I want you to keep continuing in quiet pressure by manually demonstrating how the standards apply to you as well as it does to everyone else. The daily actions that we take, our behavior that we show, say it all. A very simple example would be if you've got a no smoking rule in your facility for everyone else, employees and customers, but every now and then you breeze through puffing on a cigarette, that's about exactly what you should not be doing. If you have a dress code asking your employees to wear khaki pants and a burgundy shirt or slacks, then and you come in not anywhere close to that and plan to be working with them and the customers, that's about as much of what you should not do. It's all about showing them that you're going to abide by the same rules and standards that you're asking them to do. That is a gentle and continuing pressure. When you get outside that riverbank, then you're just encouraging them to do the same thing. But let me give you a better example of genuine continuing pressure. Let's say that you're going to a fancy white table restaurant where the dishes are always already set and everything's in place, and when you sit down, it's just right. Well, you're coming in and you sit down at your table with your date or your a group, and you're there. But you notice over across the room, the owner or the general manager of the restaurant, he's walking around at the different tables, just moving everything that's already set up. He's kind of moving it to exactly what he's thinking is the perfect spot, or arranging things the way that he wants them to be in just the perfect spot. What is the purpose of that? Why would he take the time to do that? Well, in the restaurant business, it's taught that this is an example of gentle and continuing pressure. He's not so worried about that table, but he's more concerned about the customer service aspect. This restaurant, for example, must have a pretty rigid, high standard of standards that they try to do, so that every time you come to that restaurant, you're going to appreciate the fact that everything's going to be just right, in place, the same as it was last time, or if you came 10 years ago, it's still that continuing high quality of service. Our customers like that. They like to think they're not going to be surprised. And if they are surprised, it will be a good surprise. And that's why he's doing it, so the customers can see that the manager cares enough to try to make sure everything's just right. But that was directed at the customer. The real benefit by us as managers showing that we're maintaining those same standards is that the rest of the wait staff in that restaurant is standing around all over the restaurant, the waiters and the greeters and the hostesses and the cooks and whatever, and they see that general manager out there doing the same thing at a table that they had just spent a lot of time on making it perfect. Well, what's going to go through their mind? First of all, that son of a gun, no matter how I do it, it's not going to be good enough for him. Well, is that a bad thing? Always a lot of opinions there. I would say it's not a bad thing for an employee to say, no matter how good enough I do it, he's always going to be checking behind me. That's the kind of pressure that I want you to have, a continuing pressure, letting people that work for you know that you are not going to lower the standards, and they appreciate what you're doing, and if they make a little adjustment, so be it. And new employees and old ones would see the manager doing that on a regular basis. They get the message without not a word ever having to be said by the manager who's doing that work. Different ways and different strategies apply in different businesses, but I hope you get the message here. You want to train your staff, you want your people to see you offering customer service with soul, with soul, letting the customers know that you really care about them, that you listen to what they say, and you always have a thoughtful or gracious or appropriate response. How you respond to your customer as well as how you respond to your employee goes a long way. I've been accused sometimes of being abrupt, and I guess that I can be just by not meaning to, but I also learned early on that we can be so misunderstood if we are not careful with how we say things and give instructions or offer advice. So I'm kind of the person that'll talk slow and really nail down the important points and make sure that it's clear. And some folks would look at that as me being abrupt. Other folks would look at it as, I appreciate him taking the time to make sure we don't make a mistake. And finding that happy medium in there is so very important. People almost never quit a good job, but they will quit a boss in a hurry. And we, as the leaders of our businesses and maybe inheriting the boss aspect have to be aware of this. Every time that we can use the word leader instead of boss, we'll be better off. Because to be a leader, all you need is a follower. One follower makes you a leader. So you want people to follow you because they admire you and respect what you've got going on, not because you're a taskmaster boss giving labor instructions with everything you do. So thoughtful, gracious, appropriate responses are really key factors. Learning to talk and listen is very important. So we want the design and application for hiring an employee, even if it's a part-time situation, even if it's a virtual assistance. I want to suggest to you that you take the time to fill out and create an application for someone that's coming to work for you. And it cannot be too long. Even though it may be a short-time job, your application can never be too long. Number one, because you're going to get information there. It helps you search through your thoughts to end up with the right person. In your applications, you want to ask the questions that encourage a narrative type response, just not a yes and a no. You want to leave blanks or even blank pages and ask them to fill in the information that you're asking for. Mention your company docket and paid holidays and what your policies might be so that they might respond to that and you'll get a response. What are you after here? As much information in advance from them as you can glean. And the more they write down and express themselves, the more you're going to be able to see what they're made out of and how they will be to work with in the future. Whether or not they've got the smarts or the ability to write interesting things on that paper, to tell about themselves and otherwise. You'll see about their vocabulary and maybe get a peek inside to how they think. So the more questions that you can have on your application, the better off you're going to be. You got to be kind of careful because there's some questions you're not supposed to ask by law. And so if you do your application, you might want to have someone that's got some experience in that look it over. If you want to send me a copy of it, I'll be glad to do that as well. The big three factors when you're thinking about hiring someone, and I'll mention this to you all because if you're thinking about getting another job or full-time work or go to work somewhere else, even while you're pursuing your personal entrepreneurship, these will apply to all of us every day. But the three factors that most employers that have been well-skilled or had their employing skills, hiring skills enhanced, will be can, will, and fit. Can, will, and fit. These are the factors. So let's talk about them. Can. Is the person you're speaking with, do they have the smarts to do what you want them to do? Are they intelligent? Have they had enough experience? Can they make it happen? Can they do what you want them to do? Is there ability there? Will is their attitude and their personal motivation. Do you sense that they can move on and make progress without you having to look over their shoulder on every issue? So very important. Sometimes we hire people to help us with jobs, and because of their lack of one of these attributes, we end up working harder just to show them how to do things or to keep showing them how to do things. So before you get into that trap, I suggest you find out if they will, are they motivated, and is the attitude going to be satisfactory for you? Then on your particular work, you would ask certain questions in your application to get them to respond to those kind of issues. And the last effort, fit. Do they fit? What is their culture? What is their personality? are you going to be able to work side by side and in close proximity with this person? Do you feel comfortable with them? This isn't saying that you're very, very peculiar, however you may be. Yeah, I am. So I got a feeling y'all would too. And there's some people that would have nothing at all wrong with them, but just generally because of their personality, the way they speak, the way they walk, look, and talk and eat, might give me the heebie-jeebies. And the great thing about being an entrepreneur, hiring your own employees, you get to make those choices. But you have to do a lot of this stuff with your inner thinking and such as that. But again, on that application, you can ask certain questions to find out. I've learned, and so many other people have learned, that you're better off not to hire someone if you're hiring someone that's less than the best. If you have the choice, do not hire someone that's less than the best person for you. When you think they have the credentials and you think they have the training, okay, let's give them serious consideration. But when it gets down to the bottom line, before you roll the dice and give someone the nod, I encourage you to think in your own mind that this person I'm bringing on board can be one of my top 3 employees within 6 months. I see the can, will, and the fit to think this person will really work out for me. And I'll say to you that if you think that you'll be being interviewed, and we all are, whether we're entrepreneurs or have our own business, but when we go to do a contract or make a pitch with one of our future customers or employers, they're going to be looking at this the same way. So we always want to convince people that we're going to be the best person they've ever done business with. And the employees that we're thinking about hiring, that's the message that we want to try to get from them. Now, I want to mention Outback Steakhouse. I like it. I like to go there a couple of times a year. And I am always amazed and continuously be impressed with Outback's customer service and apparently the screening that they put their employees through. I'm just very happy to see an employer train their staff in such a way to bring out the very best in people and therefore bring out the very best in the way they run their business. Just time after time. So if you have the occasion to go to an Outback, I suggest you give it a try just as a test for yourself. And while you're there, just observe how each employee at any Outback Steakhouse, how they work as a team, they don't get in each other's way, how they interface with the customer. If you have a problem and you mention it to an Outback waiter or waitress, not only are they going to immediately stop and take care of what the problem is if they can, and if not, I'll bet money that within less than 2 minutes, they will have the store manager standing there making sure that things are going to be all right. I've had a chance or two to test them, and they haven't let me down yet. I consider them the very top. If I was running a restaurant, I would want my managers and key employees to go to an Outback to observe how a well-run employee-employer relationship can be made to work. You want to have a really good job description. If you're thinking about hiring someone, I suggest that you have a job description. In other words, you lay out in writing what you're expecting. You want to do that. You want to discuss it with them. And then you want to think about when is the time to seal the deal. Are you ready actually to make it? It seems good, but when is the time to do that? Well, it's not yet. Just because they filled out the application and you think that you want to seal the deal, let's take it another step forward and let's find the rest. Let's find the rest of what we need to know. You want to have conversations with these folks to see and consider if they have an infectious attitude. Not something that's going to give you an infection, but an infectious attitude. That is, does this person smile? Does this person make you feel good? Does it have an attitude that makes you want to bond or be with them or feel good about doing business with them? And do you think that their attitude can be, this positive feeling would be spread amongst the other employees in your business? When you do, that's a good sign. And if you'll think with me, these people are few and far between. And sometimes this attribute might outweigh some other things that they're a little slack on. So we have to do this thinking in our own mind. So infectious attitude is the attribute that we're after. Do they have a self-awareness within their resume? Does this job seem to fit what their employee plan is? Does the person have a plan of their own, I guess is what I'm saying. And did you get that out of them in the application or while you were talking to them? In other words, if they already have a career path, really solid, and seem to be committed to it, and what you're offering to bring to it fits into that path, fantastic. But if it don't, then I don't tell you right now, if this person wanted to be a firefighter and you've got them cooking, they're only going to cook with you until they get an opportunity to go become a firefighter. And once they leave, then that's going to leave you holding the bag and going through the interviewing process again. So having a good understanding of where they really want to go will save you a lot of time and trouble and money if you don't have a place that helps them feel like they're on the path that they wanted to be on. Does this person have a general sense of what kind of money value they're bringing to the business? This is the big one, because lots of times with young employees especially, they just want a job. They just want some money that they can pay some bills, make their car payment, and do what they have to do, or maybe pay child support. It doesn't make any difference what they're doing. They're just interested in how much money they're going to get with the paycheck. Well, you as an employer have to think way beyond that, and actually talk to the possible employee. Do they have an understanding of what they have to do to help you make enough money to keep the business going and then have enough after that to pay them? Is there an understanding about what their work equates to money for you and your business? Their cost versus what they're paid, how are they going to earn enough money to help you make a profit plus pay their salary? If you find an employee that has that general kind of understanding about business, then that's someone that you ought to take more serious consideration of, because so many have no idea whatsoever. They have no idea. And now this is the way we turn it right back on ourselves. We have to determine how much we are making, money we're making for our company, to justify what we want to take out of it. And sometimes that's kind of scary. Sometimes it makes us want to work 16 hours a day instead of 8 hours a day, because times are slow and I need to keep working to keep my business alive. That's the way it is in entrepreneurship. And that's the way our employees must understand as well, that we have to work to make the money to stay around. Next, if you can find an employee applicant who understands what cash flow is. You know, we talk about it in our webinars and seminars, but they're not here. Do they understand what cash flow is in a business? Most everyone can tell you negative cash flow is when you're spending more than you're taking in, and positive cash flow is when you're making more than you're spending. But here's the fact. Does that employee understand how they play into your cash flow? if you're paying them $400 a week, do they understand you probably need to be bringing in about $1,000 or $1,200 a week on what they're doing for you, so that you can glean out the $400 to give them? And just as important, you need to understand that when you're talking about hiring someone, that amount of money you're paying them has to be almost doubled or tripled in income to justify the hiring. So, see, it's a learning experience for both of us on both sides, the employer and the employee. Trust. Is this person that you're interviewing, do you sense that they are a trusting person? Do you sense that they are someone that would trust other people? Are they open? Do they look you straight in the eye? Are they able to talk about trust? Because history has taught me, and I've heard other people say it too, people that don't trust other people generally are not trustworthy. People who are always a skeptic about, oh, you can't trust them to do this, or you can't trust them to do that, or one reason or another, after time goes by and you learn really what these people are all about, you'll find that the reason they don't trust other people is because they have had so much experience breaking trust. That's harsh, but it's the way that I see it, and I want to share that with you. So you want to be able to, in your applications, kind of address how they feel about trusting other people, and then you'll get a real sense of where they are with their thinking when it comes to being trustworthy. Is the person you're talking with, do they seem to be really curious? Do they have a curiosity about them, and they ask questions? They want to know more. You're asking questions, and are they just giving you 1- and 2-word answers or really short answers, or are they coming back with a question like they really want to learn? They want to give you the answer that you're looking for. But more importantly, is this person smart enough and interested enough to be curious about what's the opportunities here for me, and what are you doing, and how many different things can I do for you, and what makes this business tick? That's the person that you want to hire. The person that's curious and trying to move forward, because that will be the same person that will be self-motivated and bring new energy and new ideas to your business usually. So when you're talking with a potential someone that's going to give you business, then you might want to show that curiosity too, to carry it to the next level. So carrying it to the next level is a way that you start building a relationship. It can make a world of difference for you. It's really hard to ask pointed questions. Some are just too private that we don't legally have the right to do it. But I do want you to take your person that you're talking to an uncomfortable level. I want you to challenge them to the point to make them squirm. Ask some hard questions. Because until you see how they act under pressure, you won't know. And when they come to work for you, they're going to be under pressure. So sometimes from you, and all the time from the customers. And if it's just in a warm, fuzzy, come-by-ya situation that you're having your interview, then they're not going to feel uncomfortable. Matter of fact, you're trying to make them as comfortable as possible because you want them to like you. But for your own sake, don't be afraid to ask hard questions. Make them squirm and see how they act under pressure. It's perfectly a good thing to do. And one of the things that most people don't know and don't find out until they hire this person, get them on board, think everything's good, and then you see them under pressure, how they act with employees, or maybe how their anger runs, or no confidence, tendency to lie. It's better to know it up front, and the way you find that out is asking the hard questions before you ever hire them. There's a whole industry that talks about hiring and firing, and in this world, and on the internet you can find thousands of pages where people have talked on this subject. In the large industries that do hiring and firing by the thousands, there's an outfit called Star and Parade. Star and Parade. These are people's names. But they have a method of conducting interviews that is really significant. And I've included in your handout some information about Star and Parade that really is cool. And if you have an interest in this subject, it may be something that you'll want to sit down and read through at your convenience. I'm not going to get into it now because the information is there for you. And it goes kind of deep, but depending on the business that you're getting into and maybe what you're doing now, I think it would be an excellent resource for you, and I'm happy to share it with you. Star and Parade. It's a long, studied, well-established way of conducting interviews. Where is the motivation? Where is the motivation in this person you're talking to? Is there self-evidence of self-motivation? Can you talk with this person and ask them, give me some examples of how you were self-motivated and what you accomplished? Now, that might be a question that makes them squirm. It's not as pressure as I want you to do, but it's a very good question to make sure that it's a part of your application. Because if they understand self-motivation and how important it is, they will be able to answer you right up front and give you examples of things they've done. You know why? Because they're proud of them. They feel like they accomplished something. And from your standpoint, from their standpoint, you asking the question says that you want them to be self-motivated and you plan to give them those opportunities which start giving a positive nature to the interview in itself. Motivation is so important for us. There's a whole world of people that are walking around who are looking good, talking good, seeming to be everything's okay in their head and in their life, but in their psychic is all about being concerned about threats and conspiracies and paranoia and being insecure because of this reason or another reason. I am amazed. And in these worlds of politics, conspiracies seems to have driven that even further. And what you don't want to do is bring someone into your business that is consumed with these types of things, because it will eventually bubble over with them, with you, and with your customers. Because these folks just can't handle it. They have been infected with this conspiracy issue. Whether you're talking about the conspiracy about elections being stolen or not, proven 1,000 and 2,000% that we got free and fair elections in America, but there's a large percentage of people who are beating the drum that you can't trust our elections. That's my personal. I'm not talking politics now. I'm talking belief in institutions. So if you're thinking about hiring someone that is going to be spitting out these conspiracy theories to your customers, unless your customers buy into it, they're not going to do business with you. So give that serious consideration. If you feel like that you've been infected by the current wave of conspiracy infections that are going through the country, think about it, sleep on it, get some more information, and get over it. It will indeed consume you before it's over, and that's a dangerous situation. What are the character and value and standards of the people you're talking to? The character, values, and standards. And if you would simply say to someone in your application, tell me about your core values. Remember, that's what we're working on right now for our business. I've asked every one of y'all to do that, not only to think about it, but putting in writing and share it with your customers. Well, you're going to be talking to employees at some point in time, and it's very fair, and I think a good thing for you to do to ask them to talk about their character, values, and standards. Yeah, can you have a free-flowing conversation about it? Be a good thing to do before you start interrogating someone. A good rule of thumb, a foundation block, is for you to realize that integrity, which we all want to find, cannot be compromised or replaced with charisma. Character and integrity go together, and charisma is all about advertising and beating your drums and blowing yourself up in front of everybody to seem to be a whole lot more than you really are. Charisma is very important for someone doing sales. You got to have that enthusiasm. You got to have that I believe in myself. And it's okay to show that charisma and to go for it. But as you're looking and evaluating the internal character, values, and standards of an individual, you want to be smart enough to separate through that. I like to call it, some folks give you the Chamber of Commerce approach. That is, everything's good for business and we're just the very best at it. Nothing wrong with that. But you don't want that charisma to get in the way of them not saying, I don't care if I'm going to lie, cheat, or use conspiracy theories to do my business. Because some folks will throw that right in there. Be careful. Know that. And as you're making your presentations, be charismatic, but keep your character and your standards in play and letting folks know that you're going to try to expect the same thing from them. Having and keeping employees, after you bring someone on board or after you start creating a relationship with someone, stay connected. Relationships need to be continually massaged and built on. Learn every day new things about these folks that helps you better understand their experiences and the challenges they face, so you'll better understand maybe why they react in the way that they do with certain situations. You don't know if you don't stay connected. Maybe you don't want to be connected with people. And some people don't. And I'm not going to fault you for that. But I'll say this to you. If you're not going to stay connected with them, maybe you need to hire two people. One, a good manager that their duty is to stay connected with your other employees. But it is really important that the employee feels like they've got a connection from the bottom floor to the penthouse, and it's your responsibility to see that they're able to maintain that feeling. One of your drill skills says this: people don't really care about how much you know until they know how much you care. That saying's been around a long, long time. I think I heard it first when I was a teenager. But it's always worth repeating that people really don't care about how smart you are. They don't care about how much you know until you show them that you really care about them. And they know that you really care about them. Whether it's employees or our customers, the lessons learned are very valuable. Now, we want to attract them, and once we hire them and get them in place, our key now is to keep them. Because in business, losing and replacing employees all the time is one of the greatest expenses that we'll have. That is not necessary. It is not necessary because we have to go through all that time to do it, and we have to pay for the mistakes that new employees make, just honest mistakes. That really costs a company to do that. So once we get someone on board that's doing a good job, what are we going to do to help keep them? First, you have to always keep your radar on and be looking for signals from the people that are working with you and for you. You have to have a radar and try to sense how their reactions are, nonverbal communications and such as that. But signals will give you an employee that if they're thinking about leaving for more pay, with the things they say and do. When they are starting not to want to take any more responsibilities, not to be willing to accept a new challenge. And we need to measure, as the employer, what the employee's sense of satisfaction is. Are they giving you a good feeling that they're really proud to be a part of this team, or are they just here because it's a job? You know, in a restaurant, whether you're washing the dishes in the back, usually the lowest paid, but one of the most important people in the restaurant, or whether you're up front being the general manager, which is the most paid and most important person in the restaurant, there's a lot of room between those two most important people in the restaurant there. So we have to learn to read and feel and be able to communicate with the whole team. So the manager's role here becomes really important. We as managers or owners need to keep an environment that is motivating other people. We need to keep setting standards. We need to continue to coach with that slow, soft, quiet, gentle pressure. Learn to delegate in such a way that we're not being a taskmaster, but encouraging people to accept new challenges and extra responsibility, and always trying to help every employee get to the next step that they want to get to or achieve the next goal that they want to. So we've numbered it down with 18 different ways that are kind of important, so let's kind of look at those. Share your goals and vision for your company with those who need to know it in your organization. People cannot be engaged in your dreams and desires and goals for the company if you don't share with them what we're trying to achieve here. Once you do, they'll understand maybe when you do some things. You want to create that good environment. Make it a place that people look forward to coming to. Leaving a messy situation at home to come to a business environment that's well organized and well run is like a vacation for a lot of people. I've had employees tell me through the years so many times, Steve, I'd rather be here than at home. And that's kind of sad in a way, but as an employer, it made me feel good, like we were doing things right. You keep it organized and let people know they're not going to get many surprises when they're working for you. That's a good thing. Taking care of your employees financially. You want the very best paid people in the community doing the kind of work. And those kind of people, if they're paid right and you have hired right, will help your company earn the extra profits to pay those employees better. That's it. I was able through the years to compete with companies 10 times larger than I was and keep employees all through the years while they came and went by paying them well. But I was able to pay them well because those people produced, and just as important, they did it in a family, an employee family environment where we all felt like every person was important and every person was pulling his weight or her weight to get it done. Reward them and recognize hard and extra work. I am so happy to give that extra mile certificate in our courses for you guys that are doing the extra work. I know you're working hours doing this stuff, and it's important. And I recognize that. I can't pay you, but I can send you a certificate. That's why we have them, and so proud of them. And as long as Sarita, who's with us tonight, keep doing it. Y'all might want to send her a text and just give her a great big thank you, because she does it basically at her cost, and we sure do appreciate it. But we're glad to reward you and recognize your work. That's why at the beginning of each program I like to show it. When you have employees, you do the same thing for them. Have employees of the week or employees of the month and a certificate that you can put up. It goes such a long way to do that. Look to the people that are working with you and for you where their strengths are. What are they doing really good? And then encourage them to share that, to make it work for everyone. And as someone else sees you encouraging an employee to do better with what they're doing, and you've got some skills that you can share with them, If you can get your team working that way, it'll be a great benefit for you. Give them freedom now. Keep them between the riverbanks, but give them enough freedom to do their thing and to put their skills to work for your business, and then they will enjoy the very best that they can with the projects you give them. But you have to give your people the freedom so that you can let them shine. The good old golden rule, it's been the right one forever, and it's the right one now. We want to treat our people the way we want to be treated. We want to help them when they're dreaming, when they're trying to achieve their goals. We want to help them when they're hurting and when they have a crisis. That's the kind of employers that we want to be. And if you're that, then people will stay with you and they won't be looking for the next place to jump ship. As an employer entrepreneur, always looking for a new project to do, and we do that, then that may mean that you're always looking for a new manager to help you get there. So always have your mind open for recruiting someone that will really help you in your business. Always have your mind open for someone that you might want to partner with or invite them to join you if you see they have some skills or energies that you would really love to tap into. It's a good thing to do. So always have that in mind. So I'll mention this to you. Know that there are other people out there looking all the time. And when you're putting your best self forward, you may be the person that they find because they like your skills. They like how energetic you are, how you smile, and you're excited about doing business. That may be the person that invites you to come and join their team. And both of you leapfrog forward into success. Passion is all about being in romance, right? But it's also a passion for doing business. It's a passion for helping people, like I know that several of y'all are into doing your best to get nonprofits started and helping youth, helping senior citizens, helping underprivileged folks. You have a passion for it, and that is so important for success. But you know what? You have to show that passion to people. You have to kind of share it so they can get warmed up to you. I've had the occasion to meet in one of our seminars a number of years ago, a young lady in Clinton. I'll talk right to the point. Celie Cumbo, a really wonderful mother and passionate individual, was turned on by a church service that she was in, and went straight to work to help people who were dealing with pregnancy. And over the last, I guess now, 7 or 8 years, she's put together a really great nonprofit in Clinton that's serving Sampson and other counties to help people with pregnancy issues. And her passion is the key to bringing in other people who enjoy that and share that with you to keep the nonprofit really growing and reaching out and helping thousands of folks now. And I've had the privilege to meet her in one of our classes, just like it's my privilege to meet you guys. And when I see you going forward like that, I'm going to do all I can to help you and encourage other people to do it as well. So just keep that in mind. If you show the passion, people that you've never met before will open doors for you. But you got to let it out. You got to let your candle shine to make that happen. When you're hiring and talking with other people to come work for you, if you can find someone that has that passion, they should go way up on your list in a hurry. Look for folks that they fit into the job, that their values and their culture really will fit in with you and the other employees. There's no reason to bring someone in that's going to bust up your conversation. I mean, your organization that you're trying to get started, and sometimes one person is just like dropping a hand grenade into a company morale. So be careful. If they don't fit, go somewhere else. Ask them to give you examples of how they have self-started a program. This is more than just being motivated, self-motivated, but actually giving you evidence of something they've done from day one on their own and got it started. That's why I gave you the example of Celie in Clinton. She saw something that needed to be done and did it and continues to do it. Other people like that are around, and some of them are looking for jobs, and that's the kind of person that you might want to give serious consideration to. Hire self-starters. Recognize that your employees have a personal life. You want to keep employees, you got to consider them as part of your employee family, and that you're the grandpa or the grandma or the mom or the daddy. That's what we have to do if we want employees to stay with us years after years after years, to understand that they're coming to work for us on a daily basis, but they're bringing everything with them that they had at home, and it's in their head, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. And the employee that understands that with compassion is the employee that the employees love. It's the employer that the employees love and will stay with as long as that job's available. But you have to know that, and just because you feel like this job is really important and we got to get it done, our customers are demanding this and that, that comes behind an employee that's dealing with a very personal crisis. And we have to be men and women enough to keep our priorities in check. Yeah, making a profit is important, but keeping great employees is more important for you to stay in business a long time. So have that in mind. If you can find leadership, bring them in. If you have leadership that you're not using, then start enhancing it. Folks recognize leaders. That don't mean they're bosses. That doesn't mean they're politicians. That don't mean they're public speakers. But we all can lead in different and private ways. We can do things to help people and encourage them very quietly, very silently sometimes. Another drill skill that you'll see in your list when you're practicing this, folks usually don't quit the job, but they will quit a boss in a hurry. So if you're the boss that people are likely to quit, then I don't suggest you change your ways. If you're working now as a supervisor or a boss and you don't feel like that you have a lot of compassion for the job or for your employees, after the night session, I hope you'll reconsider, maybe rethink it, maybe pray on it a little bit. Now, once someone's on board with you and been with you for a while, I suggest every 6 months or so. Some people do it every year. Some people never do it. But I suggest every 6 months or so that the employer and the employee have some private time together, maybe a lunch or a coffee break, get out of the building, go somewhere private, and just have a little interview on how things are going, learn more about what's happening in their life. You share more about what's happening in your company, and just kind of have a meeting of the minds. You'll get a sense of whether or not they're planning on jumping ship or not, or they'll ask you questions to let you know they are. But if you don't open the door to interviews that encourage people to stay, then you're missing an important tool in how to keep the best employees on board. And when the chips are down, I want you to be the wind that's beneath their wings. When you know in your heart that they are really needing support, needing someone to stand up for them or back up for them, or to go with them to an uncomfortable situation, then be there. Be there strong, be there proud, be there right or wrong if it can be that simple. But if you want this person to stay with you, then you have to be available when they really need you. And without any doubt, be the wind that keeps their wings up. They'll never forget it. They'll never forget it. I went to a funeral of one of my employees who worked with me for better than 20 years, and then he left and went to another job to try to start his own business, which I encouraged him to do it when he made the decision. It really broke my heart because I missed him, and he was going to become a competitor, which was going to take business away from me. So I had a little bit of anger involved as well, but I put it behind me and encouraged him to do the best he could do. and always was nice and courteous to him. Drop by and visit with him sometimes through the years. We passed away about 4 years ago, and I went to his funeral. And I was so impressed when his 2 children came to me first individually, and after that his wife came to me 3 times. And they said basically these words: "Thank you so much for coming, Steve. Gary always said," and he said it often, every time your name was mentioned or Carver Equipment was mentioned, that was the best place he had ever worked. And he appreciated me as the individual as being the best boss he had ever worked for. That was really something to come, and it touched me. And then I got up to the front of the receiving line, and his mother was sitting there in a chair, a really sweet lady in her, at that time, probably in her mid-80s. She couldn't get up, so I stooped down on my knee and held her hand and told her how sorry I was. And before I could finish my sentence, she said, "Steve, I need to tell you that Gary always said how good a fellow you were." Now that really drove it home to me, and I'm not saying that in a bragging way. I'm saying this to try to encourage you guys to work towards being able to have that kind of experience. Because that family that night became the wind beneath my wings and encourages me to try to get other people to really reach out and enjoy the opportunities you have as employees work with you and you intertwine your lives. You want employees that will go out and shout to the world, and you want to shout to the world that you've got the best team. We are a great place to work. I wouldn't work anywhere else. I wouldn't have anyone else except the employees I have right now. And when that message is coming out of you constantly, when you're out doing business and in your community and at church and just talking with people in general, when you're promoting what you all are doing together as a great place to work, you're going to become a place that people want to do business. It's no better marketing tool exists than satisfied employees and the employer that are boasting on what a great team they have, how good it is to work here and to stay in this organization and make it work. So that every time you get a chance, tell the people what a great team it is, the family of employees. And I'll mention them to you, mention their skills and their talents as often as I can. I feel that way about the small business centers. I am honored to be able to know and watch these people work. And I'll share with you, y'all will be too, if you kind of get into it and create relationships with your small business centers and maintain it as you go, because there's always something new coming up. And if you have that give and take relationship and sharing, by golly, it'll rub off on you, and you'll learn things that you need to know and want to do it. Next, have a company policy. I gave you a copy of one in your handout that you can copy and rewrite or make changes that you need to do. That'll save a lot of headaches and arguments through the years. And lastly, think about becoming a dream manager. There are people that do this for a living, or dream managers for a living. Large corporations actually pay them to come in and be the dream manager for their employees. Pretty darn significant to think about. So that employee handbook as well will be interesting reading for you, and that's one of your handouts. So let's bring this thing on in now. Let me get a drink of water, and we're going to talk about becoming a dream manager. But I want to ask you if you have any questions about keeping the best employees that the discussion we've just had. I invite you to open your mic, and we'll talk about it a little bit. And if you have any experience you'd like to share, I'd really like to hear from you. What do you think? Any comments? I appreciate y'all accepting me, Timothy and Amy and Sabrina. It's good to have y'all on board with us.
Hey, good to be here, man.
All right. Okay. Anybody want to speak up?
Well, I'll say my experience when my last years at the post office, I was in management, and I kind of found out some things about myself, some a little good, some not so good. But it seemed like at the end of the places that I was transferring from, it seemed like things always tended to go south with the employees at the end. And I had to step back and say, well, Tim, maybe it's you. It can't be everybody else is always wrong. Maybe you got to look at some of the things that you're doing. So, that was a hard thing to kind of look at when you got to see it that way.
Yeah, that's a reality check that I admire you for having the brain power to introspect on yourself and see what you might do to improve the situation. So thanks for sharing that, Tim.
Yes, sir. No problem.
I found that I lost some key people through the years because I had not been looking over the shoulders of my managers. I'd hire someone that I thought was really good, or I'd actually have the manager say recommend it first. I never hired anyone for a department that the manager didn't want them. But then I'd find out that even though they were great employees, there was a conflict between the manager that maybe I could work through. So sometimes if you have managers working under you that's supervising your employees, you just can't take for granted that their goals are the same as yours. Okay, we're going to move on now and talk about managing dreams. I'm very happy to share this with you because it's a subject that I have actually seen people change lives with. This is based on a book written by Matthew Kelly a lot of years ago, and this book called The Dream Manager has sold millions of copies all over the world, still continues to be very popular, and indeed you can buy it on Amazon.com, new or used. I bought some of his used copies from Amazon, and they were just like new, very inexpensive. And if you're thinking of a very good Christmas gift or reading gift to give to someone that owns a company or a manager or has influence on a lot of people, I'd highly recommend it as a fairly inexpensive gift that could make a major difference. I'll take a moment here to pay honor and tribute to Byron Horn, who introduced me to this subject. Byron is my wife's first cousin. He's passed away now, but he lived down in Longview, Texas, and after he retired from employment security type work, he started doing part-time work as a dream manager. And they would hire, big corporations would hire Byron to come in and help set up dream manager programs within their employees to go forward. And he was telling me about this, and I was just so impressed. Byron was a fellow who had a good sense of humor, a great musician. He could play the guitar. He knew every word to every Elvis song that was ever written. And he and his wife, Dorothy, just had a great life together. And Dorothy continues to do volunteer work. So I love them with all my heart. He was instrumental in helping lead me to being a better follower of Jesus Christ. And his work as being a dream manager just paralleled with that, which makes it so much exciting for me to be able to share the concept with you. I also want to share with you that I'll be using some work comments and things from other people that have shared with me when I put this part of the presentation together about 15 years ago, including my daughter Sarah Williams down in Greenville, North Carolina, who's a very energetic and profound person as well. So what's your dream? What's your dream? The management of dreams is how we can help ourselves and our co-workers in a win-win concept. And that is pretty exciting and pretty much don't cost a penny to be able to achieve greatness. When you learn to manage your dreams, you can open up doors to a lifetime of continuing achievement. It's really, really important to do that. Part of the dream that I had was to become a counselor, a motivator, to be there for entrepreneurs to get started. And Byron helped me say, okay, I can take this and maybe go forward with it. But really what it became is I did a little mentoring and then followed my dream on to doing this type work to help other people by working seminars and webinars and doing personal consultations. So the book actually has motivated me. So looking at your future now, is it fuzzy, is it busy, is it dizzy, vivid, or is it kind of well-defined? All of us have different situations. At 76, my future is pretty much well-defined. You know, I'm going to be limited on what I can do due to expense and age and travel and energy and health. But in different times, my views would be very different. Always it would seem to be a little bit fuzzy, and until you can manage to know and to bring your dreams into sharp focus, you won't be able to make that achievement. So at work, a lot of businesses just don't try to cope with how much attention it pays to its employees. Just doesn't do it. It pays a lot of attention to how much employees do for the company, but pay little attention on how the company as a team can help the individual employees. As Tim was mentioning his work at the U.S. Postal Service and other work in large corporations, this really seems to get lost. It's not even a subject that people would come about. Not only do the people come to work lots of times don't like each other, they very seldom talk to each other, and that shows on the customer side of the counter. You all know exactly what I'm speaking about. And then you go into other places, and everyone seems to be working as a team. It's pretty darn incredible, the differences that you'll see. So what happens when the business owner really wants to help the people become closer and more connected? What happens when that comes about? Well, the employees start helping each other, and they start helping each other see their dreams come true. It works that way. I saw it happen in my business, and I think it would happen in every business when they do it. Now, Paul Meyer said in his writings, before you can understand, motivate, and lead others, you must understand, motivate, and lead yourself. Before you can lead others, you must understand, motivate, and lead yourself. A lot of you are very young, and I'm happy to share this with you because this is good advice. In my 60-plus years of being in business, I've seen this work for countless numbers of people, and when it would happen, it is noticeable that it happens. A part of getting folks involved in these webinars and joining a 10-hour online class or a 12-hour class and seeing them come back time after time because we're all learning together and helping each other and learning from what each other are doing, that is a process of understanding ourselves, motivating us to do something that we don't have to do. And when we do that, we sense that we are leading ourselves to a better place. I do that every night after our sessions with y'all. And I hope that you're having the same feeling. That makes you want to come back and makes you want to keep doing it. Hills, how many dreams have you actually written down? How many dreams do you have? And I want to say to you, allow yourself to have some big dreams. Don't put limits or restraints on them. And only share your dreams with people that you want to share. And it's okay to add someone else's dream to your list. You don't steal dreams. You just add that same dream to your list if you want to. And by all means, when we're talking about this, support and encourage other people to do that. Here's something you'll find interesting. A number of years ago, this person was telling me that they were in a dream manager group sitting around the table and people just sharing what their dreams were after they had written them down. And one of them was dreaming that he was retiring very soon after that, like within a week or two. And he really wanted to find him a camper that he could pull behind his pickup so it couldn't be too big, that he could go fishing on and pull down to and camp by rivers and lakes or the beach where he wanted to go fishing. But he just didn't have enough money to buy one. They were in the at that time in the $10,000 range, and he could nowhere close to afford that. Well, they had their meeting and such as that. About 6 weeks later, he was at home and he got a phone call. And the phone call was coming from one of the people that was in his group. And that person told him that he was down close to Santee, South Carolina, just off Interstate 95, standing in a front yard where someone had put a camper out in the front yard for sale for $2,500, and it looked like exactly what the fellow had described he'd love to have. And he said, "I've walked around this, the tires are good, it looks good inside of it. These people have taken excellent care of it, and they're just ready to sell it." Well, the next day he went down and bought that camper. His dream came true. He had him a camper he could afford and was able to go fishing on. What's the moral of the lesson is? If you share your dreams, people will try to help you achieve them. Whether at work or whether in your family, if you're serious about sharing your dream with people that love you and care about you, your dream becomes their dream automatically. Your dream, Supreme and Pamela and Sarita, Latoya, Catlin, y'all's dream is my dream. I don't do all I can to help you see it happen, and other people will feel the same way because you identified it with me, and when you identify it with other people, including your customers, in such a way that they can buy into it, that they're helping you as an individual, they will help you. It's just a human nature. Human nature usually is a good thing, especially when it's presented in the right way. So we have to learn to do that. So there's 12 areas of focus that you might want to consider the dreaming. Physical, intellectual, write down the list that's in front of you if you can read it. If you're on the phone, I'll read it for you. Adventure, creative, professional, financial, psychological, spiritual, material, professional. 12 different areas of focus that people might want to consider picking out their most important dreams. So physical-wise could go a long way. That could be you just want to feel healthy, you want to quit smoking, we all want to lose weight, want to do less drinking, maybe you want to run a marathon. There's a lot of different things to achieve there. Intellectual, going back to school or visiting a museum or start reading a book each week or month. Emotional, help your spouse or your children achieve their dreams. Maybe you want to buy and own your own home. That would be a great dream for a lot of folks. Find a relationship that works for you. Maybe you want to take your husband or your wife to Italy. Everyone have different dreams. Character-wise, I need to develop more patience. I want to learn to say what I'm going to do. I tend to say a lot of things that never happen. People would tell you that. I want to become more completely trustworthy. Financial-wise, I got to get these credit cards paid off. I want to earn a $90,000 a year or more. I need to start a college fund for my children. That would be a great dream. Spiritual-wise, find inner peace. Learn to enjoy in uncertainty. I live in an uncertain world. I need to learn to enjoy my life in that situation. Maybe I just want to take the right time to study scriptures, face addiction, overcome my fears, psychological type dreams, adventure type dreams, go places, do things, creative things, write a book. I found my encouragement right here in this class, being a dream manager that encouraged me to write 5 books so far. Learn to play the guitar was my dream, but that didn't work out. I just can't do it. It doesn't seem like. A lot of different things to be creative. Maybe you just want to buy a new car. That might be your dream, or to get a certain watch, or maybe have a place down at the river, the lake, or the beach. That might be your dream. Become more professional, get a promotion, become number 1 in the market. Every Friday I want to clean up my desk before I leave. Maybe your dream is to have a legacy, spend more time with your children, do more volunteer work, or donate more to charities. So the challenge, here's the challenge now. Identify 3 of your dreams that you want to achieve within the next year. Identify 3 of them. Write them down. Write them down. 1, 2, 3. List it down. What is that dream? And then find a partner to share it with. And encourage them to do the same thing, and y'all share each other's dreams, and then you know what? You both will start working towards that way. And the way that if you have more partners, and if you meet once a month, just have hey, I don't stay with this, and meet once a month and talk about this and work through it, things will start happening. If you spend 5 minutes each week in your dream book, identify your progress, include pictures and articles and things, kind of a scrapbook your dreams. Ask your family and colleagues about their dreams. When you ask someone about what their dreams are, then you'll get to share about what yours are. And when you can assist one, just go ahead and do it. But number 1, my friends, if you make a commitment to giving this a try, that's step number 1. That's my dream come true, if you make a commitment and try it. So I'll share with you my dream right now. It's for each one of you to make a commitment to give this a try. I think it can make some really good things happen. So let me share with you, this dream manager stuff is a life-changing thing. And some of the things that have happened, I can't share with you. They're private, and the people that shared them with me, I would be not trustworthy if I did. But there's one I can share with you because it is related. It is related to our what we're doing tonight. Around 15 years ago, I gave this program at a stand-up face-to-face seminar in one of our community college small business centers. Had a good crowd there. Had about 15 people in the group, and I think I gave a good presentation that night. Everyone enjoyed it. Gave me a standing ovation. Made me feel good, and a lot of them said they were going to try it. And about 2 weeks later, maybe 3 weeks later, I got a phone call one morning right here at my desk. And the lady on the other end of the line was the director of the small business center that I made that presentation at. And she said, Steve, I didn't say anything the other night when you were here, but your presentation has been a life changer for me. I sit right there as you were talking, and I made my list of dreams down, my 1, 2, 3. And then the next day I talked with my daughters and some friends about it. And we've been talking almost every day in the meantime. And today I have given my notice of resignation of my job, and I'm going to California. I'm going to become a real estate agent in California. I've already called out there, got me a job lined up. They're helping me find an apartment. I can't tell you the name because that would be giving away confidence, but from my apartment window, I can see the Pacific Ocean. And I'll tell you that if it hadn't been for that Dream Manager presentation, I wouldn't have ever done that. Well, she did. She went to California. She did become a manager of a large real estate firm out there and did really, really well. You can imagine about selling expensive California real estate. It won't take long to make some money. And I hadn't gotten over it yet. And I'm looking forward to being in touch with her. She's in California. It's hard for us to connect. She sent me several cards, and we talked a couple of times on the telephone, and always mentioned the Dream Manager program. So no matter who you are and where you are and what you're doing, this Dream Manager concept might make some things happen in your life that you wouldn't have happen if you don't try it. So give it some consideration. And I'm so happy to be able to share the story with you. So if you own a business, you can hire a Dream Manager to hold these meetings and schedule it and kind of organize it within your organization. If you're active at a church group, or maybe you have a church circle or a Bible study group or a scouting group or a group of friends, if there's 3 or more of you, I suggest you don't have more than 8. It's about as large a crowd as you can manage, and you want to put together a Dream Manager program, you can do it. Doesn't cost anything. I would suggest that maybe you get at least one of Matthew Kelly's books so you can hand it around and show people you're not kidding and ask everyone to read it. When people read the Dream Manager book, they understand it better because the book is about a small business, a cleaning business, janitorial business in a large city. And they were having big trouble keeping employees. They had huge employee turnover to the point that when they would be doing a big job, like a big corporate office or something like that, the owners just didn't know if they'd have enough people to make it happen. But Dream Manager came into their life, this book, and they put together a Dream Manager program amongst their employees, and voila, immediately, not sometime down the road, but immediately, good things started happening. Good things started happening. And when I read that book and started putting some of the things I learned in it to work in my business, good things started happening. I did things, and my employees did things, and we did things together we never would have dreamed of before that made such a positive difference in what we were doing thereafter. So I'm trying to sell the idea to you because I know it can have very good effects, and I cannot see how it would have any negative effects. No cost, huge benefits. So good luck with it. So as you move along and your company grows and such as that down the road somewhere, consider putting a Dream Manager plan in place. But right now, you can still do it amongst your friends that you communicate with, maybe you have a social with, invite over from time to time. It'd be something good to do and fun to do instead of playing cards or watching TV or doing nothing but sitting around, because it will really get the thoughts going on. Drill skills. Why should you expect your employees to really care about your dreams and your company and your goals if you don't care about them and their goals and their dreams? You can't. And if you want to show them how much you care about their dreams and goals and how much you care about them staying with you a long time, then this Dream Manager concept might go a long way towards helping you. I really believe that it would. So this is a good time for me to remember Cape Lookout Lighthouse. I had a chance to live there for a year in the U.S. Coast Guard, actually almost 2 years, and run search and rescue boats away from Cape Lookout. If you haven't ever been out there, it's a good place to go and maybe a dream come true. And if you really want to see the Outer Banks of North Carolina, consider renting a private airplane and seeing it from the air. We take what's going on at ground level for granted, but when you see our lovely coastal area, beautiful waters, the Outer Banks from the air, they're absolutely amazing. So let that be one of your dreams if you've been thinking about doing some traveling. I love Cape Lookout Lighthouse. Every morning for several years when I was on duty, I'd climb to the top of it, check out the generator, make sure the generator was working, and get my Windex and my paper towels and clean all those lens. That was quite an experience. And then walk outside and look at that beautiful landscape, ocean going on, and it was a good thing to do. So what's your dream? Tell me more about it. How can I help you see it come true? Send me an email if you just want to pursue it more, and maybe we can chit-chat about it and help head to a better place. In the meantime, let your light shine. It's getting dark earlier now. It's getting dark earlier. Let your little candle become a lighthouse to folks that are looking for a good, warm spirit and a good place to do business. So God bless you. Thank you for staying on board with me tonight. Look forward to working with you. Now, remember, we got about a 2-week break. We'll come back just after Thanksgiving. I think the Wednesday after Thanksgiving, pick this up and then wrap it up before about mid-December. Keep your homework coming in. A lot of you sent me homework today, and I appreciate it. I'll be posting and placing it with you, and I'll start sending y'all email on a regular basis, and look forward to you sending it back to me. All right, turn your mics on, and let's wish you everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
There you go.
Have a great Thanksgiving, everyone.
Have a great Thanksgiving, you all.
And same to you. Don't let the turkey gobble up too much. I'm planning on having some Thanksgiving turkey and maybe some wild turkey along the way.
That sounds like a plan.
That's right.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Same to you. Thank you. Pam, are you raising turkeys down on the farm?
No, not yet.
Okay. You got some stuff for sale you want to tell us about to come by and buy from you?
I tried, I made some cowboy candy, what they call cowboy candy, which is jalapenos. This crushed jalapenos. It's sweet.
Yeah.
It's like a jam. Everybody
Thank
says
you,
it's
ma'am.
like a jam. So I made
Cowboy candy with jalapenos. Is that what you're saying?
Uh-huh.
Oh, man. That sounds so good, like a great heartburn, too. No. So when I buy that from you, go ahead and sell me a jar of Tums to go with it, okay?
Okay. And I'm expecting a new shipment.
Your profit center.
Yeah, there you go. Add Tums to your profit center. Good idea. All right. LaToya, what did you learn tonight?
I learned about just letting my light shine a lot, not be afraid to ask the hard questions when trying to hire someone. I think I try to steer away from that because I hate to scare the future employee. I hate to scare them away.
Right.
So it's good to know that I can ask those questions.
Well, here's a hand. You get an A+ for that answer. Very good. I put you on the spot, didn't I?
Yeah.
No doubt about it. So, Caitlin, what do you think? Caitlin, can you hear me?
I'm here.
Did you learn anything tonight?
Yeah, I learned a lot,
Good.
which I've been a manager for like 8 years.
Uh-huh.
What kind of?
What suggestions would you offer about that?
I don't know. It just made me think about the way that I think about my employees.
Well, good. I appreciate you sharing that, no doubt. All right. Well, remember the Thanksgiving season. Let's all be thankful for the good lives we have and the great opportunities, and pray for those folks that do not, and send special prayers to the folks that are living in parts of the world that they're facing wars in their countries or famine. We are so thankful here in America to have the opportunities. So God bless you all, and look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, John Boy.
Good night, Mary Ellen.
Night, John dear.
Good night, Timothy.